Sound of Money with Santosh Sirur.
Hello and welcome to another very super special episode of The Sound of Money, which is my podcast. In my season 3, I have a very special guest joining in from Mumbai. She is Miss Jaya Row. She is the trustee of the Vedanta Trust. And not just that, I think some immense experience on hand, especially when it comes to her 40 years of immense dedication. 10,000 plus programs as a coach, as a trainer, as a mentor. 20 plus countries she's been, and she has been very, very supportive into many people across the world. In fact, she's one of the most powerful speakers in on Indian philosophy. We'll get to know a lot more about that. Not just that, she's been invited on some top-notch international forums like the World Economic Forum in Davos and the World Bank in Washington, and a lot more, and in top-notch companies globally as well as in India. First, let's welcome our guest, Ms. Jaya Row. Hi, ma'am, and welcome to The Sound of Money.
Thank you.
So, it's a very special episode, ma'am, for us because normally when we talk of The Sound of Money, it's all about business, mutual funds, finance, etc. But today we want to listen into you about what is it that, sometimes a person needs to take that so-called break, or even I would say a pause, and introspect about ourselves. And it couldn't have been a better person than you. So thank you so much for accepting my invite for this particular episode of this podcast, Sound of Money. So my first question, corporate life, I'm sure you have got so many people reaching out to you, the kind of stress, the kind of pain one goes through, toxic work culture, so many things, right? Whilst the end of the day, it's all about earning money, making a name, making a big career in this one life. How does one really balance this?
Yes, see, actually, they both go together because even to be successful at work, like a Harvard University, Harvard Business School study said that only 15% of our success comes from facts and figures, number crunching, so on and so forth. 85% comes from attitude. So this is where we come in. We deal with the attitude. We don't deal with the rest of corporate life because that there is enough attention on that.
Yeah.
There is very little attention on the attitude, which includes one's relationships, not just with colleagues, with our team members, with our bosses, our customers, vendors, so on and so forth, but also our relationship with our work. What is our attitude towards our work? And all of this determines success. So I would say this is an integral part of success.
Okay. Well, wonderful to know that. And especially, the 9 to 7, 9 to 9, whatever kind of life we spend in our offices, right? The interpersonal relations matter a lot. You have your stakeholders, you have your bosses, you have your colleagues. A majority part of our day is spent with them. And in that, I think that's where those, interpersonal relationships matter. With some, we have some great relations, with some, we don't have that, not so great. And with some, of course, it's toxic. How does one really walk through those motions of those relationships? Because at the end of the day, each of us, including that boss and the colleagues or the stakeholders, want have that one common aim, right? To be successful in life. How does one really balance that?
Yes. See, the essential part of any relationship is the necessity to have a calm mind. When your mind is calm, then you're able to assess the situation around you. You're able to get a feel of people around you. And then you can decide how you're going to relate to them.
Yeah.
But if your mind is agitated and you're a disturbed person, you are too busy dealing with your own issues and your own hang-ups. So you have no time or even the intellectual bandwidth to assess people, to figure out how to deal with people. So that's one aspect. The other very important aspect is that, in fact, you get a calm mind only when you are dedicated to something higher. Now, as you rightly said, at the end of the day, it's all about money.
Hmm.
Ask anyone, what are you working for? They say paycheck, profit.
Yeah. Hmm.
And we accept it. But you take a look at the exceptional successes in the world.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people who were not motivated by money. They were
Yeah.
motivated by something other than money, beyond money.
Hmm.
And so, what we say is that when you work for a higher cause, material prosperity and happiness come to you as a byproduct. Now, how can you make the byproduct the main theme of your life?
Hmm.
So, that is where most of us are going wrong.
Yeah. The other thing that happens in organizations, both smaller, medium scale, as well as large corporates, is competitive environment. There's that cutthroat edge there out there of competition. People watching us probably have gone through that whole, life, I would say, threatening moments at point in time. You've been talking about Indian philosophy. How would you relate that to, what kind of advice would you suggest, would give to such people who find it very difficult to, they have that urge to work, and of course the need to work, because at the end of the day, it's the paycheck that matters. But it's very difficult. There's that antardvanda, as I would say, in their minds. What do I do? What's your suggestion, ma'am?
Yeah, see, if you look at our culture, historically, we have never been competitive. Our culture does speaks of harmonizing with people.
Yeah.
We don't speak of competing with people.
Hmm.
And when you work for a higher cause, you in fact have no competition. When you fix a goal for yourself, whatever it is, let's say you want to be the best in the world
Hmm.
in terms of quality, you
Hmm.
want to serve your customer the best, or you want your products to, like Japan after the Second World War, every Japanese worker thought of Japan first, not themselves, not their paycheck. And this is how, within a matter of a few years,
Hmm.
they revolutionized their country, their products.
Yeah.
They became top notch products.
Yeah.
In fact, even when compared to the American auto industry,
Hmm.
they had less money that they spent on repairs during the warranty period than American companies. So, and then they won awards, international awards for
Yeah.
quality. So
Hmm.
all this happened because they were working for a higher cause.
Yeah.
Then they're not competing.
Yeah.
You see.
Correct.
So it's about harmonizing with people, and this is where relationships come. When you fix a higher goal for yourself, then you, as the leader, motivate your team members,
Hmm.
you motivate your stakeholders, you motivate your top management,
Yeah.
everybody
Hmm.
into this higher goal. And so, even within the team members, there is no competition,
Yeah.
because everyone is working for
Achieving that.
one common goal.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And you see this in the Tata group of companies, for instance. They were dedicated to serving the community. And they
Hmm.
do that even now after more than 150 years, which is a remarkable record. And they have been making huge profits right through. So
Hmm.
this is a testimony to the fact that when you work for something higher, you
Yeah.
earn more profits than you would have if you were working for a selfish purpose.
Absolutely. Wonderful. In fact, one of the key agenda of any corporate and of course individual employees is to maintain that very good rapport or relationship with the client. The customer is the king, as they always say. It may sound cliche, but that's the reality. How does this so-called transaction-based relation? How can we convert that into more of a I would say a long-term sustainable partnership? Any suggestion, any advice?
Yes. So here again, when you are dedicated to the well-being of the customer,
Yeah.
then it doesn't become transactional.
Hmm.
You develop a relationship with the customer.
Yeah.
And that helps you establish a long-term relationship, which helps you overcome little hiccups that come in any relationship,
Yeah.
and particularly a business relationship.
Hmm.
There are these ups and downs that happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes the customer is unhappy with you, sometimes you are unhappy with the customer, but you sail through these obstacles when you have a long-term relationship. It's like you become a family.
Yeah.
And this needs to be cultivated, and this can be cultivated when you have a higher goal. So everyone admires you, everyone looks up to you, you become a role model for them. And then what is very important is to establish an emotional rapport with them. So the relationship is not just a business relationship, it becomes a personal, emotional rapport. And this can happen only when you have love within your heart. Then you see a person and automatically you reach out to the person, not because you want business from him, not because you want money from him, but just because he's another human being.
Yeah, true.
And this, you can't fake it. If you don't have it, you can't fake it. If you have it, you can't hide it. So it just gets across.
Yeah.
And this is what helps build relationships, not only with the customer, but even within the team members. Like they say, to a leader can command and get work done.
Yeah.
Or he can inspire with love. And then what happens is that the team members, the customer, everybody becomes more creative.
Yeah, true.
And because otherwise they just follow the norm. They just do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So the creativity is all gone. Whereas here, every peon, every guy from top to bottom becomes creative at work and thinks of little steps that he can take to improve his working. And so overall, there is a tremendous boost to the business.
Absolutely. That's really so true. In any corporate career, right? There's this always that inner thought about the career, the growth in your one's career, and that a lot they say depends on who is in your corner, right? And in many organizations nowadays, especially large corporates, there's a tremendous impetus on networking. It need not be in your own department or your next door department, but across the globe. And that networking can really, boost your careers. The more you connect, I guess, the more we grow. What are your thoughts on this aspect, especially given the Indian philosophical background that you have and you can share, and contextualize this to the career growth opportunities? Because I come across, and many corporates, like, we've been there, done that, but the growth is not there. And then there is always that inner feeling, oh, should I start up something on my own, or should I look for opportunities elsewhere? But one finds that, as they say, the grass is always greener on the other side. And then that leads to a lot of frustration. What are your thoughts, ma'am, on this?
See, first of all, we must understand the principle. The law is that if you're not happy as you are where you are,
yeah,
you're not going to be happy anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because happiness is a state of mind. It has nothing to do with the environment. So that is a given.
Correct.
Then comes, how am I going to make myself happier? We can be happy. See, we are programmed to be happy only when good things happen to me. Like, I get a promotion, I'm happy. I get a great deal, I bag a contract, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But if my colleague gets a promotion, I'm positively unhappy. But now, if I expand my circle of love to include my entire team, then, and because we are dedicated to a higher ideal, if my colleague gets a promotion, I celebrate, I'm happy. I celebrate as if it were my own achievement.
Yeah.
So your happiness multiplies. And then what happens is you actually reach out to people and help them do better in their careers. You reach out to a person who is maybe going through a bad time at home, and help the person. You are reaching out to people with financial problems, or you're just helping people build their skills. You recognize their potential and you understand where they're not going ahead, and then you help them.
Yeah.
So when you do all of this, people remember.
Hmm.
And then you are establishing a totally different relationship with people.
Hmm.
So then they return the courtesy many, many times more.
Hmm.
So this is how we should build relationships in such a way that we are not competitive, but we are cooperative, and we're all working towards the same goal.
Yeah.
And then everyone benefits, you know,
Wonderful. Yeah.
according to our merit.
Hmm.
So then you also understand, like for instance, let's take the example of cricket.
Hmm.
There was a Sachin Tendulkar, and maybe there was another person who's not as good as Sachin Tendulkar. So he gets up to Ranji Trophy level.
Hmm.
And if he understands this is my level, I'm happy. I'm also happy that Sachin Tendulkar has gone ahead and done so much better.
True.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a realistic assessment of ourselves that everyone can't be the chairman of a company.
Correct. Absolutely. Another very important element in today's corporate life is mental health. At least now it's been spoken about. Earlier, it was a little bit of a, near the coffee shop or, somewhere around, but not really been, and it was really a taboo subject. Thankfully, mental health is now been at least recognized that there is an issue in the first place. I'm sure the Indian philosophy has a lot of teachings, and learnings for us, right? From how we can deal with this issue, because that's the reality. And it's not just mental health arising out of corporate challenges, but maybe even from family issues where you are not able to concentrate or focus on probably a possible successful career. How does one dabble with this mental health and the corporate careers that we have ahead of ourselves?
See, the root cause of any mental issue is selfishness.
Mm.
Too much, too concentrated attention on
Yeah.
just I, me, myself. And up to a point, it is, you kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, nowadays, what is happening is there is this obsession with self.
Mm.
Now, in the beginning, what happens is your productivity gets hit. And then you get stressed out. And then you're unable to sleep. And then so it kind of keeps increasing.
Mm.
And by the time modern medicine or doctors or the environment recognizes it, it's already too late. Therefore, what the Indian culture talks about is right from the beginning, instill the thought of loka sangraha, means work for the well-being of the world, which is a fantastic concept. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam means the whole universe is one family. So right from the beginning, when your vision expands, then you're thinking less of yourself.
Yeah.
And the dual advantage, the other advantage is that not only are you thinking of others, but to the extent you think less of yourself, you become more successful. You know, the universe conspires to serve you.
True.
So the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita says this, that when the creator created the human being was made with a special gift, was given a special gift, that of sacrifice. Then he says, with this may you prosper. Let this be the Kamadhenu of all your endeavors. Kamadhenu is a mythological cow residing in heaven that fulfills all your desires. So the less you think of yourself, the more you dedicate yourself to a larger cause, the more your individual desires will get fulfilled, not by your efforts, but by the universe. And this is such a wonderful way to live life, you know. True. Instead of running after things that I want, you dedicate yourself to something else, and your needs get automatically taken care of.
Absolutely. Wonderful. What would you say? Without any, sorry?
Without any stress.
Wonderful. That stress word especially is at its height on a Monday morning, right? How would one really counter those Monday morning blues? What's your strong suggestion for them? Because that really, your energy really is best probably on a Monday morning. But at the same time, your stress levels are equally high. And it's a real challenge even as you commute to work. Or in fact, this Monday morning blues actually start on a Sunday evening. Very crucial phase of your career. How does one deal with that?
Yes, see, it starts with attitude.
Hmm.
If you're dedicated to the goal, like Nadal loves tennis, this is where even the relationship comes in. What is your relationship towards your work? Do you view it as drudgery? Do you view it as merely the means to the end of earning money?
Hmm.
Or do you genuinely, wholeheartedly love what you're doing?
Yeah.
Nadal loves tennis. Sachin Tendulkar loved cricket.
Hmm.
Ustad Bismillah Khan referred to his Shehnai as my Begum, means it's that amount of love was showered on the instrument, that amount of love he showered on music. So if that is the case, you won't go through Monday blues because you're looking forward to Monday. So that is the question we all need to ask ourselves. Are we looking forward to Monday mornings or to Friday evenings? And that determines your success.
Just on a side note, ma'am, wanted to know your life. How did you, move into this kind of a guiding career for lots and lots of people around the world? What kind of inspired you? How did you get that opportunity, or from your own career standpoint, to get into this space of philosophy?
Well, actually, I was fortunate to have been exposed to this knowledge as a child. Within the family, my grandparents were like that, my mother was like that.
Hmm.
And so I had this exposure
Hmm.
that my mother took me to, and grandfather took me to lectures on Vedanta by several speakers.
Yeah.
And that's how I had that exposure from a very young age.
Yeah.
And as I went through college and I took a job in corporate life, um, something didn't quite gel with me,
Mhm.
with what I was doing.
Hmm.
And then suddenly the idea hit me that my field was Vedanta and not corporate life.
Yeah.
And so when I quit my job, I was very young, I was 27, and decided to work for Vedanta. I had no clue that I would be speaking on the
Mhm.
subject. I just wanted to study the subject, become a better human being, and help this knowledge get across to more people by
Hmm.
introducing them to lectures, to books by other masters.
Yeah.
And then it so happened that we had classes and I would answer questions
Hmm.
asked by others, and then they said, you answer questions so well, why don't you speak? So
Hmm.
that's how it started.
Wonderful. Very soon, as a part of the Guru Purnima celebrations, you have your lecture series in Mumbai, right, in the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, where you've been very actively associated, and we kind of connect Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan so much to your lectures on the 5 secrets of these happy relationships. Tell us a little more about it. What can people expect, from the kind of value time that they will be spending listening into you?
Yes, on Saturday, the 12th of July, we're having a Guru Purnima event. The Guru Purnima occasion actually is on the 10th.
Uh-huh.
We're having it on Saturday.
Yeah.
And the subject is 5 secrets of happy relationships.
Mhm.
So now what happens is most of us have problems in our relationship, conflict with the people we love most. Some of us have toxic relationships. And what happens is we generally tend to blame the other person.
Hmm.
Very few of us look within and say, to what extent have I contributed to this negative relationship or to the conflict that has
Yeah.
arisen? And the moment you look within, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Because you see, the relationship consists of two individuals.
Hmm.
Now, you can't change the other person.
Yeah.
You have control over only yourself.
Absolutely.
The moment you look within and you improve your attitude, you improve the way you look at things, you change the way you look at things, then what you're doing is it's like saying A plus B equals C. Now, if I want C to increase and I have no control over B, I have no choice but to upgrade A, which is me.
Yeah.
And the moment I change, the entire scenario changes.
Hmm.
and you have a wonderful relationship. So the root cause of negative relationships or conflict is because of, again, selfishness. So what we call as love is not pure love. It's not unconditional love. It is love plus selfishness. So Vedanta refers to it as attachment. Now, when there is attachment, what happens is that you have expectations of the other person. You make demands on the other person. And when these are not met with, you get frustrated, you get angry, and there is conflict. It's as simple as that. So all you have to do is knock off selfishness. Now, how do you do that? If you are self-sufficient, in other words, you are happy by yourself, but you have the luxury of having a wonderful relationship with someone.
True.
Then you have no expectations because you're quite content by yourself.
Yeah, true.
And how do we know that? It's when, you see, most of us, when the person is around, you don't really enjoy the person's company. But when the person is not there, we miss the person.
Yeah.
So this is a classic symptom of attachment. Now, what we need to do is to, number one, make an assessment of the person, because often our expectations are unreasonable. The person, even if he wants to meet with our expectations, cannot, because it's not in his nature.
Yeah.
It's like expecting an ill-tempered person to be calm and quiet. That's not possible.
Yeah.
So you have to reassess the person, accept the person as he or she is. And then when the faults come up, you are amused by them, you don't get irritated.
Yeah.
It's like an animal lover loves all animals.
Yeah.
Now, a lion is ferocious.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, I hate you for your ferocity. The
Correct.
animal lover loves the lion as much as he loves a pup or a kitten.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's the same principle we need to apply with human beings. And then you'll have wonderful relationships.
Wonderful.
And the interesting thing is, when you expect something of the other person, even if the person would normally have supplied it or provided you with it, because you expect it, he says, go to hell, I won't do it.
True.
You know?
Completely.
That's the tendency of the mind.
Yeah. Human nature sometimes. Yeah.
Yes. So when you stop the expectation and the other person understands that you're quite happy, even when he doesn't do anything for you, then there is a motivation on that person's side to do more for you. So you see, you benefit both ways.
Absolutely looking forward to this celebration and your lecture series, which is on the Saturday, 12th of July. It's in the evening. I'll be sharing the link for registrations. It's a free event, but do make sure you're a part of this, because this is very rarely we have a live event and it's on a weekend. Do catch for the link in my YouTube channel. I will be sharing that in my promo as well as the episode. And we'll look forward to listening into Miss Ma'am, Jaya Row Ma'am in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan here near Chopati in Mumbai. Thank you so much, Mr. Rao, for joining in my channel and my podcast, The Sound of Money.
My pleasure.
Most welcome. Thank you so much. And well, with that, we come to the end of this episode of the podcast, The Sound of Money, from me, Santosh Sinu, and Ms. Jaya Row. Thank you so much for being with us on this podcast. Bye-bye and take care.
The Sound of Money with Santosh Sinu.